Welcome to something a little bit strange. For today's car, you're going to need the Horizon Car Pass. And bad news for Gearbox fans, this thing has a CVT. Because today we're taking a look at the 2024 Toyota Prius Prime XSE Premium, a name that's quite a mouthful. This thing has 220 brake horsepower, 206 foot-pounds of torque, while weighing a staggering 3,571 pounds. And it's also probably the most joked about car on the internet, but I've got to say, from the front, it does the kind of weird and futuristic. To the side, it's kept the same Prius, I guess, like shape or silhouette that it's had for the past 20, maybe 30 years. And then going to the back, it's got this strange looking all the way across LED rear light. And of course, this thing is from the 2020s, so it's got a massive screen right in the middle of your dashboard alongside a couple of buttons too. And it also sounds a bit like a spaceship as well, but let's go ahead and take this one floor down and go and take a listen. Right, ready for a lot of droning? Because here we go. So here we are now over in the upgrade shop with a very strange futuristic sounding Prius. Let's jump over to body kits and conversions and over to engine swap to see what we've got. We've got ourselves a 1.6 litre inline-3 turbo alongside a 2.5 litre inline-6 turbo. Alongside that we also have ourselves a 1.6 litre inline-4 turbo rally. We've got ourselves a 3 litre inline-6 twin turbo, and we've got ourselves a 6.2 V8, and last but not least a 4.8 litre V10. Yep, you heard right, a V10 power Prius. From stock, this thing's front-wheel drive, but you can go ahead and make it rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, which we'll do a little bit later on. And if you want, you can also go ahead and add a single turbo to this thing. As for air and appearance, going over to the front bumper, we have ourselves the TRD option, which is, well, not much. And we've got ourselves the Forza front wing, or front splitter, same thing. Going to the back, we've got ourselves the options of a tiny little TRD rear wing, which you can barely see, or some Forza Aero, which you can also barely see. In the meantime, our mechanic Mac has gone out and made something a little strange, an A-Class race build with a CVT, and if you want the share code, you can go ahead and grab it right here. As for the stats, it looks a bit like this. It's a lot lighter now, 2,855 pounds in weight, with 370 brake horsepower all the way up to the top of A-Class. It makes me wonder, what could go wrong? So if these upgrades applied, here and now over in the paint shop, going over to advanced, we've got nothing there, and going over to manufacturer colours, you've got yourselves a whopping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to choose from, and I think we might go ahead and put this thing in blue. Now, last time I tried racing with a CVT gearbox, it didn't go too well, so hopefully this one might go a bit better. Still, there's only one way to find out, because away we go with the Prius and that god-awful CVT. Honestly, this thing does nothing but drone on. Now, these have been around for quite a while, but did you know the first ever Toyota Prius was designed and released back in December of 1997? European sales followed roughly a few years later in around 2000. Right, let's go ahead and see. Can we get up into third? Yes, we can. Excuse me, Volkswagen. And while we're at it, also go ahead and take first place as well. This thing's kind of quick. And yes, I didn't think I'd be saying that about a Prius, but here we are. Now, I tried to find how many of these were actually made, but I couldn't find a specific model just for this car alone. But apparently, throughout the entire Prius's lifetime, there's been a whopping around 5 to 6 million of these things made. And if for some reason you want to go ahead and buy one of these things, this specific model will set you back around $40,000, which is this in pound sterling. Oh, you're a bit close, aren't you? And since we're in Japan, is about this in Japanese yen. In the meantime, we're currently up into first, 84% through the race. We've got a Fiat that's very, very, very close to us, but let's try and see if we can hold them off. Fend them off, hold them off. I don't know, words are tricky. But the bit that isn't tricky is going across the line in first place. Somehow we've done it with the Prius, I don't know how. And we got ourselves a time of 2 minutes 34. And now we go to racing of a different kind. Because now it's time to go ahead and make our way all the way to here. Because now it's time to go and do something very stupid. We're taking a Prius onto a test track over here to go ahead and do a bit of a time trial. However, we've only got one lap, so let's go ahead, get across the start line, and let's stick our foot down and hopefully make this lap count. As ever, we're hoping to get under a minute, but again, this is a Prius, so anything could happen. Especially because it's front-wheel drive, and again, it has a CVT, which doesn't exactly make racing very easy. Halfway through the track, we are 35 seconds in. Are we going to get less than a minute? I really don't know. Right, final set of corners. The timer is currently around 55 seconds, which means we have got, well, not a lot of time to go ahead and get ourselves a 2 at the finish line. We are over a minute, but we crossed the line at a minute 2. Was that faster than the last car I took here? I can't remember. However, now we go from road racing and time attack over to drag racing with this tune when it wants to pop up on screen. There we go. There's a show code. Feel free to go ahead and grab that for yourself, because Mac has made us a drag build. And the stats look a bit like this: 1,600 brake horsepower, 1,325 foot-pounds of torque, while weighing quite a lot of 3,189 pounds. Now, earlier Max said to me that he couldn't get this thing to wheelie. Can we do it instead? No.
well, it was worth a try.
Right, here we are over at the drag strip, and hopefully away we go with the Prius. Can we match Mac's 7.3 second time on here? I really don't know, but there's only one way to go ahead and find out, and that's to floor it, and we got ourselves a 7.7 and 0 braking.
Even with the Prius, the brakes still don't work.
Now, before we go any further, let's take a quick look over at the car mastery. We've got ourselves pride and joy for getting an instant 2000 XP just for owning this car. There's also one here called spoiler alert for this thing's lack of a spoiler, but you go ahead and get yourselves that 10% more skill score from drafting, and all the way over to the right, we've got ourselves Hot Lapper, where you can get an extra 10% XP for completing time attack laps in your car, which would have been handy to have probably about 2 minutes ago. Now, at this point, I'd usually jump back into the upgrades and go, here's our turn to go ahead and have some fun with making this a top speed build. However, Mac's gone ahead and actually done that for us as well, so let's go ahead and bring up the share code very quickly. There it is for that one. Feel free to go ahead and grab it. We're going to go ahead, download and install, and this thing's going to be probably quite chaotic, because this thing does retain that 1,600 brake horsepower. It's also now a lot lighter at just a shade over 3,000 pounds, around midway through S1, with a special, I guess, little extra thing. In the meantime, we're going for a top speed run, so let's go ahead and bring up our favourite map. There it is. Feel free to go ahead and give that one a try, but let's jump into it and go have some fun. And you know how I said this thing has a little extra something? Well, we're back to front wheel drive, and we're back to a CVT with a lot of horsepower. What could go wrong? Well, I guess we are about to find out, because away we go with the Prius. An absolutely terrible set of launch control, and there we go, that's better. Right, away we go. And to be honest, by the looks of things, I'll be very surprised if I have any tyres left by the end of this.
Or maybe even rims as well.
Either way, we are soaring past 240 right now, which is absolutely insane, and we're just past 10% progress into this top speed test, and we are still going. 20% in, we've now just hit 280. Can we get quicker? I really don't know. So let's go ahead, keep our foot to the floor and see if we can. And of course, there is the promised 451 kilometers per hour. I just thought, if we get a mile an hour quicker, does that mean Mac's going to have to rename this tune? And there is the halfway mark. We're at 280 miles an hour, and we are not getting much quicker. So all the way back down to Horizon, Japan we go. And here we are. We've landed somehow on a golf course. Okay, now it's our turn to go ahead and have some fun with this thing, so we'll jump over to body kits and conversions, and we'll go ahead and slap back in that massive 2J. And we'll go back to all-wheel drive as well. Now, Mac had a name to make this thing a bit of a top speed build. I've got a name to go ahead and make this a drift car. Now, I know what you're thinking. Yes, a drifting Prius. What could go wrong? And now we get to the fun part, and that's going ahead and throwing all the power we can straight back into this thing. And of course, while we're at it, we'll go ahead and make this thing not only lighter, but also go ahead and slap on some race brakes as well. That's more like it. Okay, we've thrown some upgrades to this thing. We've made it drift ready. Now let's go ahead and throw this thing straight into the Bandai Azuma drift zone. Let's go ahead and see how we do, shall we? I'm not going to lie, I did not have Gymkhaning Prius on my to-do list when I got up this morning, but here we are. Okay, final turn for run number 1. Let's go ahead and see how have we done going out of the drift zone. We've got ourselves, if I can get through the finish line there, 189.3 thousand.
And now we've got to go and do it again.
Right, into the drift zone we go. Let's go ahead and see, can we beat at the score we've just set? Well, there's only one way to find out. By the way, if you've got any recommendations for a drift zone that you reckon I should try out for these videos, do go ahead and put them in the comments. Okay, we're coming to the end of the drift zone. Let's go ahead and see how we've done for run number 2, 174.1 thousand. Not as good as run number 1, but then again, it's still a Prius.
And I'm honestly surprised it's able to do anything.
In the meantime, though, that is this video on the Toyota Prius in 2024. Are we going to get one of the older ones as well? Now we have this one. Who knows?
Personally, I think we should.
Like I said at the start of the video, if you want one of these for yourself, you can go ahead and pick it up via the car pass, which is a bit pricey on top of the base game, but for this car, I'd say it's actually kind of worth it.
We're just going to ignore that crash. Nothing happened.
And I never thought I'd say this about a Prius, but this car's actually been pretty fun. In the meantime, though, thank you very much for watching. Like, share, comment, subscribe, all that cool stuff, and I'll go ahead and see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching. Tech out. See ya. Now, what about a drift car with the CVT?